This video is dedicated to Deja Shade. A huge shout out to Deja Shade for supporting the channel. Kinnan Prodigy versus Tatyova Benthic Druid. Yeah, I don't particularly like that hand, but worst case scenario we can brainstorm, put the two big things on top and shuffle away with the Worldly Tutor, so let's keep. We're also on the draw, so that helps us out a little bit hopefully. And there is a shuffle effect, so let's go for the Tropical Island. And we'll just hold up Brainstorm for the end of our opponent's turn. If they have counter magic for a Brainstorm, then they can cast it during their own turn, although I doubt they'd use it for that. Not holding it up, even if they do have it, going for a Coiling Oracle, and they get a Growth Spiral into hand. So we'll just go for the Brainstorm right now. Draw into Swan Song, Llanowar Tribe and a Forest. Yeah, we're nowhere close to the Great Henge. We'll put the Crater Hoof away as well. Although we're going to draw into Crater Hoof here anyway, aren't we? So I don't mind having that in hand. Yeah, we'll grab ourselves an island here. Or, actually I'm going to shock in the Breeding Pool so we can go for Llanowar Tribe next turn. So we'll go in for Kinnan. And then our opponent goes straight in for that Growth Spiral, making 2 lands for the turn. And then a Rampant Growth, so there is their commander next turn. They've got 4 cards left in hand. Not going to bother with Worldly Tutor because, like I said, we want to get Llanowar Tribe down, although that is a Jace the Mind Sculptor. So I think it makes perfect sense to get that down this turn. And we'll take the Brainstorm this turn, and then we might just want to keep bouncing Tatyova whilst we buy ourselves some time and actually try and get into these dorks that we want, which apparently we're not going to get into. We'll just put a couple of forests on top because we can grab a forest with the Verdant Catacombs, and we'll draw into a forest next turn anyway unless we decide to Worldly Tutor. So yeah, we'll leave it like that. I think it might actually be worth, if they're going for their Tatyova here, which I would think they would, might actually be worth a bounce counter. And they did play a land there but decided to tap it out and pass the turn, so no 4 spikes or Spell Pierce for us to worry about. Do we want to shuffle before we go for Brainstorm? Yeah, we'll look at a fresh bunch of cards. And then if there's still stuff on top that we don't like, we can shuffle it away again with Worldly Tutor. So let's go for the Brainstorm now and try and look at 3 new cards. Alright, I'll take Nezahal. And I'll take the forest as well. Let's put Crater Hoof on top again because we're just not getting into anything with that. We'll put a forest on top as well. Yeah, and then I've obviously decided to forego the whole bounce counter thing, so let's just go for the Gaia Engineer and we'll attempt to outrace our opponent with a Jace the Mind Sculptor in play. Beast Whisperer, I don't like that. And they get into Temple of the False God. So that's a lot more mana for them. Followed by a Wayward Sawtooth, which will draw them another card and allow them to make an additional land every turn. And they do make use of that additional land drop, getting into Yavimaya Coast. And a Scavenging Ooze for more card draw. Now, do we want to recast our Kinnan next turn? Well, we'll definitely block the Coiling Oracle. Yeah, I think we just let Jace go here. Yeah, so I didn't really think that through properly. I just kind of went for the Brainstorm on Jace before really thinking it through properly. I just had it in my head that we'd keep Jace for some reason. Anyway, let's go for the Worldly Tutor. Yeah, probably should have gone for the bounce counter onto Tatyova and then they couldn't have developed the board state that they have. But anyway, the thing I was thinking about was Consecrated Sphinx. If we can't stop their card draw, then we can at least match it, or even better it, with a Consecrated Sphinx, assuming we can keep it in play. And then we'll tap down the Mana Dork on the upkeep. along with some lands. That gets us into 7 mana, and then we can still hold up counter magic once we've gone for the island. We'll grab the Consecrated Sphinx that we just put on top, and hopefully that'll keep us in the game. Play the island and hold up counter magic, like I said. Alright, Nissa, Vastwood Seer. Yeah, I don't really think we're going to be countering anything our opponent does. I think the only thing we're going to counter is like Cyclonic Rift and I don't know, something that's just going to take us out within a turn or two. So we'll just pretty much let our opponent do whatever they want here, minus winning the game. Playing a land, and that will flip over the Nissa because they've had no trouble in getting into lands. And neither are we at the moment, just drawing into a heap of lands ourselves. I don't think we have any means of making multiple lands a turn. We want to focus on mana dorks and rocks and stuff. That's our ramp. And their ramp is making multiple lands a turn, so there is an exploration from them. Another land drop for them to gain more life and draw more cards. There's Cultivate, that'll be landfall again. We get into a couple of our mana dorks that we've been missing this game. Now a Primeval Titan, as well as another dork, and a Priest of Titania. I get the feeling that they might be trying to bait us, I don't know. But yeah, Priest of Titania we're fine with. Doesn't really matter how much mana they have, as long as they don't have a fistful of counter magic, which they might do. I'm hoping they don't have a lot in this Tatyova build. But we've got Seedborn Muse at least, and that should really help us out. We'll be able to play multiple creatures, and then just untap everything and hold up counter spells and Beast Withins and stuff like that. Yeah, that's fine as well. That might be some kind of combo enabler, although it's not. Yeah, probably not in a Simic deck. You need to worry about that more in Jund decks. So we'll allow that thing down as well, making another land. And there is Beast Within, along with Sylvan Tutor. So we'll be able to set up another activation with Kinnan if we want to. I think we're more wanting to just empty our hand at the moment, as best we can anyway. The Wayward Sawtooth comes in. We do have 6 toughness, so we'll just stop the 5 damage coming in there. They obviously didn't notice that. Now I think, like I said, what we have to do this turn is drop a load of mana dorks. We definitely want to finish the turn with Seedborn Muse. Getting into Mana Crypt is good. That helps. That's 3 mana for a 0 mana cost. And we'll get down the Gaia's Cradle as well, because that generates even more mana. Going in for Marwyn the Nurturer. Before we play any more elves, we've got quite a few in hand, so I'm not really sure what we're going for yet. This is a Spirit. We'll definitely go for Reclamation Sage. Might get down the Llanowar Tribe. Yeah, I think we are going to go for that. And then we'll get down the Rex Sage as well, so that makes Marwyn tap for 3 mana with our Kinnan in play. And the Rex Sage will make it so that they can't make as many land drops in a turn, although the damage might have been done on that front. And then we'll tap down our Mana Dork. It's going to untap when the upkeep comes around anyway, thanks to Seedborn Muse, so we'll just make sure to get that in so we don't forget. It's going to be very important. And then I think we'll just get down the Simic Flying Dork. Let's have a look. Yeah, I think we'll go for the Flyer. You never know, our opponent might get down a Planeswalker that we want to pile in damage at. So there we go, we'll get that down. We can take out Nissa with the Consecrated Sphinx. They might be able to swing back at us for some damage, but I think we'll be able to survive. I mean, it all depends on how many cards our opponent draws. I think they'll have to draw a lot of cards in order to become a threat to us. Now we have to discard a bunch. We'll just get rid of a load of lands. And we'll get rid of some dorks as well, because they're going to be too slow at this point. We're already generating more than enough mana. And here we go, already starting to draw a bunch of cards with the Consecrated Sphinx at the beginning of their turn thanks to the draw step. Let's see if they bother to play a bunch of lands here or not. They might just play straight into the Sphinx. That's what they've been doing already. Exiling our Primeval Titan, couldn't care less about anything that's in the graveyard. I don't think we have any graveyard interaction whatsoever. Then a Wood Elves from our opponent. We'll draw them a card with the Beast Whisperer as well, so not only are we drawing cards from landfall, but we're drawing cards from their creatures entering as well. And there's our Reliquary Tower. The Concordant Crossroads might come in handy as well with the Craterhoof Behemoth. Yeah, I think at the end of the turn, Jin-Gitaxias has flash, don't forget, so I think it might be worth with Jin-Gitaxias getting that down at the end of the turn and making them discard all the cards in their hand. I think that's the plan currently. Mana Dork for them draws us more cards. And we get into that Helix Pinnacle as well. So we'll be able to dump a bunch of mana into that, and we'll win the game once it has 100 or more tower counters on it, which could be useful. Now activating their land in order to allow them to cast things at flash speed. But they've done that during their own main phase. That seems strange. I don't know why they would need to do that. There might be some kind of combo I'm not aware of. Birds of Paradise for even more card draw. Yeah, they're just playing into our hand here. I know they're drawing their own cards, but I'm not really sure what their plan is. The creatures they're casting seem inconsequential to me. Okay, Evolution Sage. They've only got one counter to worry about, and that's the Scavenging Ooze. They've got themselves a fetch for landfall twice. We get into Endray's Runners, which is yet another ability like Craterhoof Behemoth. We've also got the Beastmaster Ascension and the Thunderfoot Baloth, as well as our own Tatyova. So we've got all of our big beaters now, and I think we'll be able to get them all down as well. So yeah, we might be able to just trample through our opponent next turn. And apparently the police are after someone. Yeah, Intruder Alarm is going to allow us to generate a cartload of mana. Yeah, we'll pretty much be able to play out our hand next turn, I imagine, as long as we can keep playing creatures. And we do have Concordant Crossroads as well to give all of the dorks in our hand haste, so yeah, we're going off next turn one way or another. A Regal Force from our opponent is, yeah, they draw a card per green creature they control, which is a lot of cards for us. It's a lot of cards for them. So I will just remove auto yields because I don't want us to deck ourselves. We'll probably go down to like 20 cards in hand here, or 20 cards in the deck. Gotten ourselves an Oko. There is Prophet of Crufix as well. Oh, we've gotten our own Cyclonic Rift. Maybe that's what our opponent is fishing for, Cyclonic Rift. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I think that is our game plan at the moment. Cyclonic Rift into Jin-Gitaxias would be really good because it would just leave them with lands. And they just continue to feed us cards with the Llanowar Elves. And now they go in for the Cyclonic Rift. That's exactly what our plan is. We will go for the mana drain on that. And then they go for Veil of Summer in response, so we will counterspell the Veil of Summer. Or can we go for Swan Song on that? That's an instant, so, or it counters instants, I should say. So we can do that. Let's tap down this thing and make as much blue as we can from it. Get into a little counterspell battle potentially. And then we need to work out after this, assuming that the Cyclonic Rift goes through. Okay, Reality Shift, what is that going on to? I mean, Consecrated Sphinx could not care less about keeping hold of that. They might wish they'd kept that. There's no need to do it here, because we are going in for the Jin-Gitaxias. I've Like to go for the Cyclonic Rift into the Jin-Gitaxias first though. And then Nature's Law, where's that coming from? Oh, of course they can cast spells at instant speed thanks to the Alchemist's Refuge, so they're just trying to draw another card and try and get themselves into some counter magic. Now we've actually only got a finite amount of blue mana, haven't we? So if we want to go for Jin-Gitaxias, we can't go for Cyclonic Rift as well, unfortunately. It might just be worth a Rift this turn, and then try and get them on the swing back. Kodama's Reach is even more card draw. I don't think they've got any mana to do stuff with now. So even if they do draw into something, maybe they've got Force of Will in the deck. Maybe that's what their aim is here. So we counter the Veil of Summer. Looks like the Cyclonic Rift is going to go through as well. And then like I said, because of the finite amount of blue mana we've got, we can't do Jin-Gitaxias and the Cyclonic Rift. So I think we just concentrate on a Rift of our own at this point. And there we go, that gets through nicely. I don't think there's anything we can do at the end of the turn. Our opponent scoops immediately to that. Yeah, they could have rebuilt there, but obviously decided not to. As it turns out, we were going to get down. Wow, where is everything now? Drawn that many cards, we've only got 15 left in the library. Yeah, we were going to draw into, or play next turn, Thunderfoot Baloth, the Beastmaster Ascension. What else is there? We've got the Craterhoof Behemoth, I think, Endray's Forerunners. Yeah, so we're just swinging in at our opponent for lethal next turn. Like I said a few times, I would have liked to have gotten down the Jin-Gitaxias as well, because then they would have had to discard everything that we just bounced back. Cyclonic Rift into Jin-Gitaxias just means that you don't have a board state or a hand, and that would have been the final nail in the coffin, but clearly they felt as though they'd lost there, and it looks like they were going to next turn. Hopefully you all enjoyed that one. That was a bit chaotic, thanks to us both leaving Tatyova in play a turn too long and getting into the Consecrated Sphinx, but we were drawing more cards than they were. The more cards they drew and the more they played into the Sphinx, the more cards we had in hand, and that really helped us in the end, getting into Rift and the counter magic that we needed. So it's a good game to my opponent. Hopefully you both enjoyed this one, Battle of the Simic Players. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.